let we back go.
Hello, Queer Mecca College. Welcome to the K Dial and B Show, where you're gonna get a little ratchet intellectualism, a little ghetto educational.
We gon' use big syllables.
We gon' be blackity black black, blackity black black. We're good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're live.
No, you can keep that. I like that. Good day, good folks at Queer Mecca College. Welcome, welcome, welcome to today's program. We are the Lyrical Groove, and we're going to go through a little bit of history through black music. Music that we all love, music that we came up with. So we are the Lyrical Groove. We're going to vibe out with a little jazzy sensations, a little hip hop, some soul. We're gonna do a little bit of spoken word because that's all the music that inspires us and our connection to it. But real quick, I just want to introduce the band. On vocals, we got the lovely Brisa Lauren. On keys, we have my man Joe. On drums, we got the hitter, Shotty G. On bass, we got my man Noah. My name is Kendrick Dial, and we just gonna have a little fun. We're gonna have a conversation. We have this wonderful in-studio audience with us today. So we're gonna vibe out. I'm gonna start out with a little poem, if you will. Let's keep this, I kinda like this. I'm learning to live alive because I'm learning to love supreme. I couldn't understand it before, so I had to start digging. Digging in rhythm, digging in beats, digging in sounds till I was moving my feet. Moving my hands, moving my heart to talking songs, to talking truth, to talking thought, to talk to you. Memories of how my village sang sweet harmonies and chants for God to bless a child. Transformed into old Negro spirituals by my new native tongue. And as I wade in the water, I'm torn from my family. You can torture my body, but my soul you cannot slaughter. Now my daughter is not allowed to speak, so she sings the blues. In a solitude, accompanied by swing time jazz, and it just keeps on evolving. So even though I keep falling, I know that I have to get up. I need to get up. I shout out to the world, wake up everybody. But nobody wants to listen. If only my people were a piece of clay, then I could change how they use this influence, this music. But I must see the beat inside my foot is derived from my soul. It calls out from the Congo drums to the hums of hymns in my mind to sound and action surpassing my pain. Now refrain is repeated. So I string these chords of hope. String these chords of hope. So I can refrain from living on a downhill slope. Living on a downhill slope. I'm learning to cope. This is so vivid, it's busting out my chest. Got me moving my hands, vibing my feet, shaking my legs to the point where I'm no longer in my start leg stance. This is dance, dancing to the rhythm of the night, awakening the dead. But around midnight I drift into a quiet storm of self-thought. My new native tongue is no longer my native tongue. It's been taken away. I have so much to say and no way to say it. I have so much to say, but no way to say it. I have so much to say, but no way to say it. But wait, the beat is coming back. Creativity is on track. I hear, I listen, I mimic, I flip it. I hear, I listen, I mimic, I flip it. No description is intrinsic, self-sufficient, and interdependent, because just as much as I need it, it needs me. I speak in whispers that shout out truth from elder to youth. I induce conscious labor, active isms, spiritual songs that comb through the poems of hands. You know we really did write this. And through this new speech, chained men stand, hidden truths are now seen. Songs of caged birds are now freed, and I like to say I chose these words, but the words chose me. This is poetry. So now I'm learning to heal. I'm learning to feel. I couldn't understand it before, so I had to start digging. Digging in rhythm, digging in beats, digging in sound till I was moving my feet. Digging in rhythm, digging in beats, digging in sound till I was moving my feet. Digging in rhythm, digging in beats, digging in sound till I was moving my feet. Moving my hands, moving my heart, moving my hands, moving my heart. To talk in songs, to talk in truth, to talk in thought, to talk to you. To talk in songs, to talk in truth, to talk in thought, to talk to you.
Y'all are beautiful.
So beautiful. So that was The Joint. It's called The Journey Notwithstanding. So in that piece, it was somewhat of an awakening time when I was able to really kind of dive into jazz in particular. And I grew up in the South, so I grew up, in the church, Southern Baptist, church every Sunday, 2-3 times a week. And I was in the choir coming up. And even when I was on the usher board, I was sitting at the door right by the band and musicians and everything. And so diving into a space where I got to really learn about how the music was more than just, this ornament in terms of how we may use it today, where we just so focused on maybe the beat or it sounding good and just kind of having it in the background. But it was really an integral part of the everyday life experience. It was a part of our healing. It was a part of our sensation of justice in terms of how we navigated the world. As a part of our connection. And so with this particular piece, there was a lot of alluding to or connecting to. I used a lot of titles from some amazing songs. There was, God Bless the Child with Billie Holiday. There was Round Midnight with Miles Davis, The Loneliest Monk. There was Rhythm of the Night, DeBarge. You know what I'm saying? Rhythm of the Night. Okay. Yeah, you know that one?
Yeah, I was gonna let you have it. I was gonna let you shine, boo.
Okay,
that's
sure.
it. That's you.
Hey, that was my thing. There was, what else we having? A Piece of Clay, Marvin Gaye. Wake Up Everybody, Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. So all these different songs that were just, in that particular piece, telling that particular story in terms of understanding the music and how much it is connected to soul and to peace and to healing and talking. And there's a language in music that if we allow ourselves to really be in tune and really think about what's happening and feel what's happening when we connect with the music, when we not only connect with the beat, right, and allow the vibrations to do what they do, but there's also a space where we connect to the lyrics and understand the vibrations that they're giving and how they're speaking to us, which is why we got to be mindful about the type of music that we're listening to, I love Tupac. Tupac is one of my favorite folks. And the brother, he was angry sometimes. He was angry. He had a lot of anger. So I gotta. There were times I realized I can't listen to Tupac 8 o'clock in the morning. When I'm getting my day started. Sometimes I like to ease into it. Like, don't get me wrong. There are times when I'm just gonna go for it. But recognizing how that energy, builds inside of us. So
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Right, we don't want to go there today, not yet. So, on that note, so that was a little bit of what this piece called The Joint, you know, what it is, what it means to me, and that connection to music. But I want to turn it over to Ms. Brisa Lauren, who has a few things to share as well.
Hello, Cuyamaca College. Hello, faculty, students. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. There's two things I really want to talk about today and really bring forth into this conversation. And it's the two powerful ways that we use music. As we're thinking about Black history and we're using music to navigate through that history, I want you to know that music in our culture is used for two things. It's to tell a story, it's to tell a narrative, it's to tell a message, because we know in a system of white supremacy, in a system of institutionalized racism, that too many times our truth, our stories, our experiences are silenced. Too many times they are changed by the dynamics of white supremacy. They are muzzled to fit a narrative that does not align with the true experience of being Black in America. And so music throughout history, and you'll hear it today in some of the songs we share, is really used to give a message, to navigate a message, and to tell our truth from a perspective that nobody else can, because nobody is living the experience that we are living. The second thing that I think is so important about music that I want you to understand too is its ability, as my partner here, Kendrick, was saying, to express yourself and to heal yourself. For me personally, I fell in love with music because of lyrics. I fell in love with music because of songwriters like Nina Simone and Lauryn Hill, who turned their true pathways and their experiences that they were experiencing just as human beings, as Black women, and turn their pain into purpose by writing their vulnerability into songs. And so I think it's really important that as you are navigating in life, whether you're dealing with racism, anti-Blackness, sexism, microaggressions, hurt, betrayal, any type of pain that you're experiencing, that you use music to speak the feelings that you may not have the words to, and that you use music to tell your story, and that you use music to process and to continue to allow yourself to be vulnerable in spaces that you may not have in your everyday walk through life. For me personally, there was a song from Lauryn Hill that I remember just changed the whole trajectory of my life, the whole album really. It was her Unplugged album. It was an acoustic album that she made in the most raw form, where she was able to just be vocally vulnerable, to be lyrically vulnerable, to open up parts of her that she had never shared on stage before. And one of the songs she sang that really helped me turn my pain into music and use music as a tool for healing was a song called Peace of Mind. And she says, I gotta find peace of mind. I gotta find peace of mind. He says it's impossible, but I know it's possible. He says it's impossible without him, but I know it's possible. He says there's no me without him. Please help me forget about him. He takes all my energy, trapped in my memory, constantly holding me, constantly holding me. I need to tell you all the pain he's caused. I need to tell you why I'm undone, because And she continues to tell this story of how she was able to achieve peace of mind through being honest about the pain she was experiencing. So as we're going to share some music with you today, as we're going to continue to tell short stories about songs that inspire us, songs that motivate us, and using music as a tool to take you through Black history, we want you to know that Black history is history throughout all year, not just this month. And continue to find outlets to heal, continue to find outlets to tell your story, and let music be one of those things that drives you. We're going to actually start with a song that we wrote together as a band called Wake Up. And I want you to really listen to what we're saying in the song and really think about how the music itself, the bass, the drums, the keys, how it's making you feel, how your heart is beating with it. If you see your foot slowly start to tap, if your arms are moving, if your head is bobbing, the lyrics that are kind of touching you the most, really pay attention to how your body is going to react to the song. And then we're going to talk about some of our favorite parts out of that song after it's done. So this song is called Wake Up.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. Oligarchy, anarchy, Marxism, communism, racism, sexism, socialistic ignorance, glass ceiling, classism, day labor, sharecropper, drug lords, warlords, mafia, mobsters, sweatshop, chop shop, dope spot, hot block, rifle, grenades, gunshot, shell shot, militia, politicians, superstitions, Satanists, pedophile, juvenile, murderer, rapists, immigrants, refugees, transient, Haitians, subordinate education, staggering the nation, millionaire, trillionaires, billionaires, elites, poor, impoverished, obsolete, in-run scheme, guns is scheme, pyramid screams, bailout screams, bounce checks in the illustrious, industrial, prison complex. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. Wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. Indecisive indecisions plague our existence. All that we need is what we are given, but we struggling with focus, smoking out of focus, hocus pocus chokers, focusing on these gadgets, forgetting what really matters. How you gonna succeed when you don't really believe? Don't have no map. We've been so programmed that even if we saw the North Star, we will only get for so far. When we use TomTom, GPS, and OnStar, forgotten how to connect with nature, forgotten how to connect with our youth, seeing them as separate entities like we were never them. Maybe we need to change the conversation for what they ain't doing and how lazy they are to why they do the things they do. Cause if we understood, then maybe then we can help them. Help them. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, so wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, one more verse. Wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. Wake up, wake up, wake up. This is what it looks like. Empowerment, resilience, brilliance, confidence, self-esteem, I believe, persistence, patience, delayed gratification, critical thinking, values, dignity, listening, determination, dedication, waiting, courtesy, respect, love, hope, loyalty, fighting for a purpose, coping with grief, communication, thinking for yourself, belief,
Prayer, meditation, open mind,
deliberate decisions,
valuing your time,
understanding feelings, understanding balance, letting go of malice, step into the challenge.
We're not afraid to fail.
It's the world that lies in town, so y'all can't tell.
But you can't give up, you can't give up. We may fall down, but we get back up. So wake up, hey, wake up,
Wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup. So wake up, wake up, wake up, and put this focus in your cup.
everybody wake up.
right, so that was Wake Up. A little trivia for you good folks out there. During that last little, like, 2 minutes or so, minute or so, keyboard playing was playing some notable tunes from a very dynamic producer that passed away some time ago, but he was phenomenal. Anybody know who that was? I'll give y'all a minute. Can you answer? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know?
Time's up.
Jay Dilla. All right. So, but yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I in particular like live music, because we get to play around with the different dynamics and whatnot. But let's talk about Wake Up a little bit. So, for those that don't know, by, I guess, professional training, I am a social worker. And I wrote this, well, we wrote this song actually when I was actually going through my grad program. And as a social worker, we learn about basically the ills of society in terms of all these different dynamics. And because as social workers, we work to heal those and, you know, restore those issues and, you know, the people in the midst of those challenges in a very real way. And I'm always big about the power of music and the impact that it can have. So I want the positivity to be there. And I recognize that, you know, we be dealing with some real stuff in life. And so how do we talk about those things and what is the message? And so recognizing that a lot of times it's hard to even get out of some of the issues that we may be facing. And so part of the song, and which is why it's Wake Up, put this focus in your cup, you know, get to your situation, whatever that may be, where you can focus on bettering your situation, bettering your community. We're all at different points in life and whatnot, but we are community as a whole. So how do we come together to do that? And by the first part of it is just acknowledging all the ills of war and famine and murder and all these different things that we're dealing with. And if you're at the second verse is really kind of dealing with you know, the dynamic with our youth. I was fortunate to work with youth for a good time, and I still do to a certain extent. And a lot of times we're quick to tell the youth what they should be doing, right? Or how what they're doing is not going anywhere and all this other stuff. But it's a different thing to actually have a conversation and actually get to understand who are the people that you're dealing with, these younger people, because they have ideas, they have a voice. So how do we cultivate and develop those voices so that, you know, they're growing, they're going to be the ones that are shifting. We're in a total different space from even when we initially wrote this song. So that was really a piece of that message. And then the last verse is really just honing in on all the different pieces of, as people, the things that we bring together in terms of the positive, or the things that allow us to really show up for each other, and, you know, with that loyalty and connection and communication, what it means to show up for self, what it means to show up for family and community, and just leaning into that. So, you know something interesting about this song that I didn't realize? So there's this notable Jay-Z song called Thank You. And when I initially wrote this, you know, I didn't have a band. So I wrote it to that song. Mm-hmm. And I listened to that song one day. I was like, oh, man, I really just stole his whole little flow. Stole his whole little play. Don't come after me, Jay. You know, so, but that was interesting. And even with the music, but that was funny.
There's two things I really love about Wake Up. And I think, one, it has this like powerful message of like resiliency, right? Which, as Black folks, time and time again, has been a narrative of our forward mobility, right? Is this resiliency from slavery, the resiliency through segregation and Jim Crow, to the resiliency now of border and police brutality that we endure. But what I love about this is like the optimism and the hope that the song gives, and not just in the melody of the music. It has this feel-good vibration that kind of runs through your body, where you can't help but do a little bounce, a little shoulder roll, right? You saw us up here, we just moving and grooving. But in addition, it just reminds you like life is gonna constantly be happening in all measures, in any way, from the first world problems all the way down to the issues that may take months to heal from, years even at times to recover from. And there's a line in the song in particular that says, but you can't give up. You can't give up. We may fall down, but we get back up. And I live by that. I wholeheartedly live by that. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. And what I love about that song is I feel like you can play this song in joy, and you can play this song in tears, and you will find your smile and your strength to just get back up. To just get back up and keep going. Because at the end of the day, we only have what we're in control over. And again, it's a song, it's music, but it inspires you within 3-4 minutes. It grounds you again, and it centers you again, and it reminds you to get back into your purpose, back into your intention, and not allow the things outside of your control to impact what you do have control over. And so I want to just reiterate that again, because I think it's so important. Get back up, to continue to get back up. We may fall down, but we get back up. And that's really what I love about this wake up. It's my favorite line to sing, which is why I get extra loud on that part, and I'm going to keep getting extra loud every single time. Because there's one thing about us black folks is we going to do it extra.
So I think one of the things I always like to connect with is the role of the poet, you know, in the context. I didn't start out doing music initially. I started out writing poetry, and that was my place of expression. And, you know, the poet being connected to the griot and the storyteller and the role that the griot had, but then, you know, passing down the oral tradition and how we value, you know, that the oral connection and the oral communication within the black community. And so that has always been a sacred place for me in terms of even gracing the mic to be a poet. Gil Scott-Heron is one of my, you know, notable faves in terms of seeing him make the connection of poetry and music was something that really kind of opened me up to the possibilities of even doing music and poetry. For those that might not know, he wrote a very notable poem called "The Revolution Not Be Televised." I challenge you to go ahead and look that up if you are not familiar.
Please look it up.
Yeah. So on that note, just connecting to how, you know, the role of the poet in lyrics. There is the Black National Anthem, written by James Weldon Johnson, who's a poet, that really capitalized on the black experience in terms of the pain and the pushing through and the relationship to God and how that has allowed us to go so much further than what we came from. And so when I think about that role and that responsibility as an artist, as a writer, that is something that I always try to bring to this space of artistry as we share. And so in this space, I think, what you want to do next? I think we want to roll into Ode to Outkast, or do you have something else to say?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's roll over Outkast.
Okay,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, folks, we're going to roll into Ode to Outkast. And
So in the spirit of paying homage, as Kendrick just did, I think this song is just one of the most creative pieces, and I'm just gonna give you credit because this is you, sir. But I'm gonna give him his flowers. You know, he brings up some phenomenal artists just now and poets, right? And I really believe that this piece is in a timeless classic. The same way that we listen to the Revolution will be televised, will not be televised. Yes. I feel like this piece is just as classic. It is a homage to one of the greatest groups alive, two phenomenal artists by the group name of Outkast. And not only does it connect so many pieces of their music collection, but it touches on metaphors and bridges gaps of lyrical geniusness. And I just really want you, especially if you're an Outkast fan, to just really pay attention to what Kendrick's saying. And I hope you enjoy the end and it's familiar to you. You did your thing on this song.
I received that. We started out selling the soles of shoes until we climbed into the attic and started putting our souls to use. Then they called us
two dope boys in a Cadillac, yeah.
but we were more than that, more than tracks. The truest form of evolution that Darwin spoke of, and we did it for the love of this art form. Even when society had no heart form, we gave this music another form. We liberated it. Southern bred hip-hop, improvised some beat-bop, park benches and bus stops. Spoken from NY accents to now Southern grammar. But we not country bammers. We music tipped hammers, banging through GA. That's Georgia. The Southern playlist, they kinda like music, we used this to show you what we were going through. From East Point to Savannah, all through Atlanta. The interpreters of this musical language, fusing soul, funk, electrical, jazz, rap, rock, and blues. Hell, we've even been screwed for our fortitude and spoken words and styles that you ain't heard. We're not from this earth. Consider us AT aliens.
Me and you, your mama and your cousin too, rolling down the strip on Vogues, coming up slamming Cadillac doors.
AT aliens, not hip-hop aliens, but with a platinum and selling this duo is comprised of a fire-spitting Aquarius and the eclectic rest of Gemini. Him and I and Equimini. We finger licking like sweet and sour chicken doused in barbecue sauce. Something a little different, yet it's homely. So we live this art. Me and my homie, our only mission, hey, is to take you high. Like chitlins and jockstraps. Sorry, Miss Jackson, the analogy seems too funky, but we came to put the stank on you. From GA to the UK, all the way back to California. And to you, Rosa Parks, our music was never meant to harm you. It was more like paying homage. Hush that fuss.
Thanks for not going to the back of the bus.
But our competition trying to make fools of us. And it seems like the whole world likes we in the news. They don't know our secret, but I'll tell you. We found the love below the speaker box and kept it as our prototype. So while the industry was running around idle and wild, we lived life like a musical and gave the industry idlewild blues. And though they wish for us to split like a Hollywood divorce, our bond is the music, which makes this union unequivocal. Style unique and atypical. Lyrics abstract and political. We showed the world how to grow as a team and still be individuals. We're from having a lot of time on our hands to having a lot of hands on our time. Because they like the way that we get down. More so to the point they want us around. Historically, like Morris Brown. Two of the dopest mic controllers. We create an authentic sound motivated by music, not cash. Which is why our sound will always last. And that's why we will forever be considered Outkast.
Nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh, so clean.
So clean.
Don't you think I'm so sexy? I'm just so fresh, so clean.
Fresh and so clean.
Ain't nobody dope as me. I'm just so fresh, so clean. I love when you stare at me. I'm just so fresh, so clean. Cause we are
the coolest motherfuckers on the planet.
On my mind.
The sky is falling, ain't no need to panic.
No.
I got a stick and want your automatic. Compatible, created in the attic.
We are
the coolest motherfuckers on the planet.
My mind.
The sky is falling, ain't no need to panic. I got a stick and want your automatic. Compatible, created in the attic.
So we are
the coolest motherfuckers on the planet. The sky is falling, ain't no need to panic.
No.
I got a stick and want your automatic. Compatible, created in the attic.
So we are
the coolest motherfuckers. The sky is falling.
No.
I got a stick. Yo, let's see if they know this part. Hey, where y'all at? Yo, shoes, baby, eyes. Get to running up at their mouth and telling me everything that's on your nasty mind. They say you're malnutrition and needed vitamin, needed invited to that tingle in your spine. I love who you are, I love who you ain't. You're so inframed. Let's hit that attic to hop for about 2 weeks. Rick James with no chains and looks. I do suck lips, do hips, jerk, and double time that boy next door to. to Outkast.
Yeah. Woo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yo, you know, I did that song. I was taking a black music class, and we had to basically do like a research project on an artist and whatnot. So I chose Outkast, and that was a part of me, like, kind of telling that piece. That was my project. I got an A, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Got an A. But yeah, like, that was some time ago. But one of my favorite lines in that piece was actually talking about Rosa Parks and that connection to, like, there was if anybody, you might not know, but at one, Outkast has a song called Rosa Parks. Hush that fuzz, think we're not going to the back of the bus. Do you want to pump and smoke with us? We the type of people make the club get what? So,
Sorry. The tort came out. Apologies.
we're going to bring that back later. But it was that song, and whatever, you know, the generational gap, and maybe that's the misunderstanding. And so there was a whole lawsuit and all this other stuff or whatnot. But for me, like, even bridging that piece is also connecting to the generational gap that tends to happen, right, in community, and how important that is. I'm a father, Breeze is a mother, and we see the dynamic of children and parenting and community, and how even they are impacted by the art that we choose to engage with and what we're exposed to. So I think it's very important we think about the type of music that we are engaging in. And I'm not saying there's a lot to explore, and I think the beauty of it is the more you can expose ourselves to and kind of connect with and really dig into the history. I think one of the things that really allowed me to start getting into music was, you know, I grew up in Dallas, and there was a radio, and I would hear songs on the radio. And I'm not sure when it happened. It had to be around 10, 11, and I realized I was listening to an oldie station, and then I heard, like, some old new music, if that makes sense, where basically somebody was sampling. I saw where somebody had sampled an older version of music, and I was like, wow, I didn't know that they did that. And so that allowed me to really kind of dive in to kind of really see, like, how are they, you know, to hear all the tunes, and then you hear, like, the more updated version of it, or how somebody sampled it, and it just gives you a whole nother appreciation for, you know, them adding another layer of music to this what's already been used and whatnot. So that piece right there for me has always been a great bridge that me and my daughter share in terms of listening to music and finding out things. And my daughter's 15, so I'm like, when she puts me on the new music, like, it's a beautiful thing that my daughter can put me on the new music.
I think it's beautiful too when we talk about, like, bridges, that we acknowledge sometimes, like, the bridge that music is as, like, an escape, right? And as a release outside of, like, the therapeutic and the messaging. And one thing that I love in particular about, like, how music has, like, culturally been defined by, like, our ancestors and Black folks is how we lead in every single genre. You know, like, I'm a country music fan, don't tell nobody, so if you're on here, this is just your secret and nobody else's. But I love country music, and to know that we are the originators of country, the originators of rock and roll, the originators of jazz, soul, R&B, alternative, makes me so proud to continue to indulge in the roots of music. And one thing that I've learned over time is that as much as we use music as a messaging tool, as much as we use music to touch on those historical pieces and to bring in real life experiences, historical moments, and even what's happening now, is that a lot of times too, we use music as well as a break from the realities and the hardships sometimes of being Black in America. One thing that Nina Simone quoted that I wholeheartedly love and have lived by in many spaces is that an artist's job is to reflect the times, right? It's to showcase what is happening and to be that messenger. And I think too many times in the social justice realm and in this fight for equity and equality and Black power and Black mobility is to not only acknowledge what has happened, but to continue to make music for the time now and to start using art and music as anchors, right? Too many times we have poets, performers, musicians, dancers, painters, kind of as an accessory to the message, and we don't use them as a tool to drive the message, to really impact the narrative into the mental and into the heart. And so I encourage you all, and especially facilitators and folks that are creating programs, to really reach out to your art community, whether it be painters, singers, musicians, singers, poets, and really utilize them to tell narratives, really utilize them to create spaces, because the reality is Black folks continue to create culture and continue to drive culture. And it's really important that as we're acknowledging folks in this historical moment of honoring the history of Black folks, that we realize that Black history is really American history and should be utilized in all spaces and all platforms, and continuously be taught, continuously be utilized, not just as an accessory, but as an anchor to how we move forward.
And in that spirit of being an anchor, if you will, we're going to do this. This is actually a new song that is working on a new album, Lyrical Groove album, and I'm pretty excited because it's coming along quite nicely. And this tune is called Chillin' in the Garden, especially when we think about the space of America these last few years. This piece really kind of sings to those dynamics, and yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into it. I was chillin' in the garden with Judas. I had no clue that he would do this. Father, forgive them, all them silly fools,
For they know
not what they do. We've been playing games, walking in these chains, following and hollowing and wallowing in pain. Our condition's been conditioned cause we living in the system that was built on backs of melanin. Taking it, selling it, raping it, gelling it, indiscriminate. Ain't that? Can't even claim a status, just deemed us a savage. Dedicated and related to trap us in these patterns. Taught us how to enjoy and inject our own affliction. Ain't no mystery to this iniquity. Let's look at the money trail. It'll take you to the devil's lair. They got our babies out here dying in these streets.
dying in these streets at the hands of the police. Yeah.
They don't want us to be mad. But what would you have? What would you have us do if you was in our shoes? Cause all I see in the middle of the street are same strange fruit that look like me. Died by the devil, but the devil runs free. Dealing with doesn't give about me. Look up in the sky, cause I'm trying to find peace, and I still got a bird trying to on me, on me, on me. Still got a bird trying to on me. Try to take cover, so I run to a tree, and the tree started laughing. And what did I see? The tree had a noose that was waiting on me, waiting on me. I was chilling in the garden with Judas.
Hey, yeah.
I had no clue that he would do this.
Father, forgive them,
All them silly fools
for they know not what they do.
So I'm back to work. The greetings all smiles, but these microaggressions somehow they still abound. Been working here for years, but they still can't say my name. Well, maybe it's too complicated. Ma'am, my name is James. Well, maybe you're just paranoid. That couldn't just
be.
I wish that was the case, but it ain't just me. They say Sean, he's too shy to be a good leader, and Keisha's surprisingly smart and articulate speaker. Miss Jane been here for decades and she works pretty hard, but she ain't seen promotion since the boss's daughter started. Never value my ideas unless it comes from someone else. But say I'm no team player when I eat out by myself. I get paid to work not sit up here and socialize. And why would I socialize with a bunch of folks that I despise, that look into my eye and lie like 45, but hold me in contempt when I call them on the... So I ain't worried about your nepotism, your favoritism, your racism, your ageism, your sexism, whatever isms you got. Only in America can your natural be.
Only in America can your natural be mistaken for untamed, dogged and shamed. One man takes a knee and the country goes insane. These games ain't important, just these dollars to the game. And you wonder why we pushing for a change in policy. Brothers locked up for selling some tree, but now they selling tree for their profit and they greed. But no reparations for our own families.
I was sitting in the garden, thought with Judas. I had no clue
that he would do this. Father, forgive them,
all them silly fools,
for they know not what they do. Hey.
chilling in the garden, chilling in the garden.
So that song in particular really touches on the quote that I shared with y'all earlier about Nina Simone, where she says an artist's job is to reflect the times. There's a lot to pull out between Kendrick's piece and my piece. And the crazy thing is I feel like this song came so easy to us. I mean, you know, it was in the midst of, yet again, another incident of an innocent black man murdered by the police. And Kendrick was feeling the emotions and the pain of it, as we all do, and the numbness at times. And he took pen to paper. He came over, he said, I wrote this piece, you know, in the midst of this storm that we're experiencing and watching on TV. And I said, I want to write to it too. And right there, sitting together, I wrote my section. And I think it took me maybe 5 minutes because the experience is so real and the words are right there at the tip of our tongue because we have at times no outlet to really express the anger and the frustration of the system. And so some of the things we touch on in the song is, you know, not just the police brutality that we're witnessing, but we talk about even the nuances of folks who want to speak on it and the backlash that they receive for standing up for justice and standing up for some right. So when I say one man takes a knee and the country goes insane, this justice ain't important, just these dollars to the game. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick and him taking a knee to bring awareness to police brutality. And then them saying that we're not worried about justice, we want to keep the game going. Capitalism, money, wealth. That's what's keeping us around. And the reality is, and what we've seen time and time again, is that black lives only matter when it impacts them economically. And that's what that song touches on. In addition to talking about the current state now of marijuana use, in California it's legal, right? We've got stores operating as Apple stores with the technology because they can capitalize off of it, they can make money off of it and profit. And yet we still have black and brown bodies behind bars for the same thing that they're now profiting off of. And so we talk about that in the song. We touch on these different subjects because this is our current reality. We're reflecting the times and we're giving music an opportunity to share that narrative and to use it as a release and expression of the reality that we're facing.
And my actual favorite piece of that is the second verse. Because I'm navigating these professional spaces. Academia, you are a wonderful place, a wonderful time. And some of these other venues I've been fortunate enough to navigate. And understanding how, as a person of color and all these different isms that we have to face from, racism, ageism, sexism are very prevalent in terms of trying to navigate these different spaces, right? And so when you listen to the verse, you hear me just citing just different examples, and even kind of through the names, you can insinuate, nationality and ethnicity, and how that has been impacted. And these are like conversations that I've had with people in terms of what their experiences have been, in terms of being in spaces, be able to see how, glass ceilings or glass cliffs, are impacting, how folks are able to navigate their space. I think one of the challenges that I always think about is, the many people who have had, these wonderful ideas and these wonderful skill sets, but were in places where they were not appreciated and not given an opportunity to truly rise up to really show what they can do in, in their livelihood, and not being able to support a family and not be able to give back and connect with a community, which is another reason why these spaces in terms of building community is so important, to reinforce each other when we don't have that in other spaces. So, yeah, I can't wait till that one's done. Shout out to my man Noah over here, because he played bass and is going to add some other things to it. And real quick, let's just give it up for you musicians right now, because, we do a lot of stuff, and it's always cool that we can kind of call these good folks, and they're professional. They handle business, they communicate, and they bring forth their talent and their skill set to add to what we do. And that's just, I'm humbled, I'm very appreciative that they're able to do that. Because y'all hear them, don't you?
So
Let me hear you. Let me hear you. Give a round of applause.
You're so talented.
There you go. Because that's a beautiful thing, we don't take that for granted. Sometimes we get shoddy a mic. We're not gonna do that today, because he was singing last night, so he didn't want to do it today.
And I just want to add this as we're touching on the song "Chillin' in the Garden" that has these really like heavy topics in Black culture and the Black community. I read this quote one time that said, "The only thing we learn from history is that we don't learn from history." And I think it's really important that, again, as we're using music as a tool for release, therapy, healing, narrative shifting, that we also are turning that into action, whether it be in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our workplaces, in our schools, wherever you find yourself, that you are making sure that you're taking the experience and you're doing something within your power to change the system systemically, so that we can continue to move forward as a culture.
I think it's, I came up with the chorus for that, because I don't play like my man Joe or know them over here, so that's why it's like very basic. Ding ding, ding 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 ding. But initially when I wrote it, I was performing at a church, and it was around Resurrection Sunday, and so, which is why the lyrics for the hook are what they do, because that was kind of the space that I was in. Forgive them, Father, for they know what they do. But they be knowing, don't get me wrong. Folks be knowing what y'all be doing is this whole racism and all that good stuff. Y'all be holding people back, taking these checks. But keeping it moving. This next piece that we're going to do is dripped in hip hop. This was a piece that initially I performed with a group called BK Soul, a group of poets, dancers, musicians, vocalists, and we come together to do these shows. And some time ago we came together and did a show called Hip Hop Saved My Life, and where we examine all these different layers and the complexities and the beauties and the oxymorons of hip hop, if you will, hypocrisy of hip hop in different ways. And so this piece was really looking at, kind of the beginning of hip hop, Kool Herc, and the turntables, So does anybody know what the two turntables together, Kool Herc, do you know what that's called? Merry-go-round, there you go. See, y'all getting education today, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get y'all education, we're gonna get some entertainment, get some education all together. Yeah, the merry-go-rounds. And so when he basically found like the break beat, and if you're familiar with James Brown and how it just breaks down to like the drums, the drum break, he basically created a merry-go-round where he could basically replay that to extend that part, because when it came on, it was just a short part. And when that particular piece would happen at the party, that's when the B-boys, right? That's why they call them, B-boys, B-girls, because they would come on when the break beat happened and go up there and do their thing and dance. Brish, you gonna show them what that looked like?
No.
Okay. And so they would get up there and dance and do their thing on the break beat, which is why they call B-boys, B-girls. If they was from those in the Bronx, they would say Bronx boys or whatnot, but that's a whole other thing. But when you think about that, and at the initial space of creating hip hop, it was about the love. It was started out, in a park. Wow. So it started out in the parks and folks in these boom boxes and folks just coming together, in community, have a good time to once again release. During this time, the Bronx was going through some crazy development. Robert Moses, a city planner, was basically displacing, communities of Black and Latino and Italian and some others as well. Like it was, he was building this expressway through there, and displaced a lot of people. And in the space where, the Bronx was basically burning, folks were burning down buildings so they can get their insurance money. So it was a very tough space to be in, and these people found, and it was this community of Black folks and Latinos, and they were coming together, and when you go back and you look at that and you see how punk culture is connected to that, and even in the expression of gangs, how we see gangs today is not the initial concept of gangs. The initial space of gangs was about protecting the Black community and protecting their community, Black and Latin for that matter. But at some point, due to influx of drugs and different things, it shifted in terms of it kind of started turning on itself. But recognizing in this moment that in terms of, the beginning of hip hop came out of this space where, all they had was, they would take a cardboard, some music, and make it do what it do, and it turned into a fantastic time. And so this piece right here is kind of going down the memory lane of hip hop, if you will. And so it's a fun piece that we like performing. And so this piece is called How Many Different Ways. It's actually very much rooted in the African tradition of call and response. We can't hear y'all.
Feel like shouting.
We can't hear y'all, so but we still might give y'all space. We're gonna play with it and see what it do. If it don't work that well, trust and believe. Let's go ahead and do How Many Different Ways. All right, you got it? Y'all gonna help us out? Cause y'all here. So what I need you to do, all right, so everybody, you ain't even listening. So what I need you to do, when I point to you, I need you to say, how many different ways, okay? Y'all got that? It's like to keep the rhythm, keep the flow. How many different, we gonna do this like we gotta actually, you gonna, okay,
I'll help them out.
I was like, let's just do it like we had
I'll help
the show.
y'all out. I got you, I'm gonna sing it with y'all.
She's gonna sing it with you, all right? All right, y'all ready? All right, we're gonna go through it. All right, 1, 2, ready.
How many different ways? That's us, y'all. That was y'all part.
Okay, my bad. I forgot my part.
Yeah,
That's me.
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it again, but that's like that. Do it like that. All
Okay.
right.
Follow me this time. Follow me.
Yeah, there you
Okay.
go. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and
How many different ways?
can I say I'm hot?
Here we go. How many different ways?
Can I say you not?
How many different ways?
Can I rock the spot?
How many different ways?
Can I say I run the block?
Let's go.
Hip hop started out in the heart. I said hip hop started out in the park. I said hip hop has always been my homie. We went to school together. Grew up in a duplex around the corner from Crew Hertz merry-go-rounds. Set the background for James's Brown breakbeat blocks. We're known for selling bootleg products and running from the cops. Tells me all the time, it doesn't matter if you live in a mansion, a house, an apartment, or a project tenement. They all hold the same sentiments. A home is still a home as long as love is there to feel it.
That's why I love hip hop.
It can take whatever you thinking, whatever you missing, and feel it. Make it its own urban call experience. Hip hop is like musical food. And since I like chicken, I'm trying to have you all finger licking it.
Here we go. How many different ways?
Can I say I'm hot?
How many different ways?
Can I say you not?
How many different ways?
Can I rock the spot?
How many different ways?
Can I say I run the block? Yesterday, I took a trip to BK that made me reevaluate the nutritional value of beef. I ordered a Whopper. One bun was Biggie, one bun was Pac, and in between, there was beef. After I ate it, I had a bad dream. There was a movement. On one side's the WEB, on the other was Booker T. And in between, there was beef. So I stopped eating it, turned into a veggie eating philanthropist. Started eating every meal with spinach and cream. You know why?
Hey, you know what?
Hey, they say cash rules everything around me. Cream with the money.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Look at I can spit it on my people, make them stronger. Now I'm living in the steeple when they calling me a preacher, but I don't need views to preach to.
I do this for my people.
But if I don't make a profit from spitting this knowledge, then my people can't profit for ego preaching profit. They probably see me as lawless, soon they'll be locked up, Biggie and popped up. So I chose to shock you. Set out to change the world with a wish that was lyrical. Make sure guys were laced my lyrical material. And guys backing me, and I'm spitting miracles. Asking simple little questions like this.
Here we go, y'all.
This.
I said how many different ways?
Can I say I'm hot?
How many different ways?
Can I say you not?
How many different ways?
Can I rock the spot?
How many different ways?
Can I say I run the block? I found hip hop on Sunday morning. Walking with Jesus, stumbled with Kirk Franklin, but that was just what I saw Saturday night. Up in the club, shaking it fast and watching itself. Friday, she was in some apple bottom cheese. Boots with the first had the whole club looking at her because she was getting low. Thursday I heard hip hop at elevated telling everybody to keep their head up, but that was just after hump day. Driving home after work, I heard hip hop on the radio, but what was that song? You remember how it went? I can't. I said, Buster, me and your girl rolling in a little line, their backside is swollen. Now if your man babysitting, say what you gon' say. You gon' tell it, brother.
Pascapassier.
You gon' tell it, brother.
Pascapassier.
Everybody say it now.
Pascapassier.
Everybody say it now.
Pascapassier.
See, on Tuesday before we passed the by, I had to say today was a good day. Plus nobody I know got killed in Southeast SD, but on Monday, hip hop made a song that said I can touch the sky, so I decided to do more than just get by. But on Sunday, hip hop was back in church and the pastor asked it, hip hop, what are you doing in church? This is what he said. I got a heart, a mind, and a spirit that formulate this flow, and enough street smarts to know that before I found Jesus, hip hop had my soul. Different ways. Yeah. So one of my favorite parts about that, you know, historically, is the verse, the part that says, you know, I took a trip to BK, and at the time I was eating Burger King, kind of heavy. Don't put that in your life. But it's a double entendre for Burger King and you know, BK, the Bronx, which is I ordered a Whopper. One bun was Biggie, one bun was Pac. And then I ate it and had a bad dream. You know, one was WEB and the other was Booker T. And historically, the beef, right? You know, those were two opposing forces, if you will, between Biggie and Pac, as well as W.E.B. and Booker T. I was just like, that's really a dope, genius line. I'm gonna give myself some flowers on that one.
Even when we did it again just now, I was like, that's such a dope line.
I'm gonna go ahead and hold that down. And then the beauty of recognizing once again, the homage to all the music that, I grew up with, right? From, it was a good day to Pascal Vassier to, to Get By with Talib Kweli, Touch the Sky with Lupe and Kanye to Kirk Franklin and Stomp. All these different, mystical, shake it back, all these different, expressions of hip hop from all over that I grew up with. This is a beautiful thing. I really appreciate, being able to shine a light on that. I was actually, before we got out of here, I wanted to read another poem, just because it's Black History Month, and I wrote it for this occasion some time ago. Joe, can you give me like an old Negro spiritual? No. I'm playing. This piece is called I Have Been. Like I said, I wrote it for Black History Month some time ago. I have been, since the devil had his grin, since before slaves were considered men, and the new world was taken. I have been, I believe I've been living a life before my life. My blood done been shed since before I was bred. My cries done been heard since before I could cry. It's been said I done seen the other side without even having to die. I have been since wars were fought and half of history was taught. Since all the land that makes up this country was bought or taken. I have been depressed since before the depression, but I live life like recess because that's how I cope with recession. I have been placed as a part of the concrete that has paved the way for every person of every race, creed, and color, since before they were broken up into black, white, and other. I have been since Egypt was called Kemet. I have been since the labeling of the Negro, from the Negro to the black, from the black to the Afro-American, to the label now selected by the almighty job application, the African-American. I have been longer than a month, even when I started out as a week. I have been singing since before I knew how to speak. I have been the backbone for generations since before I knew how to stand. I have been the mother of lands since before they would empower me as a woman. I have been a father of cultures since before I was acknowledged as a man. I have been a king advancing civilizations before the world knew what civilized was. I have been a blessing to the world since before they knew what a blessing was. I have been even when the Statue of Liberty was presented with broken shackles on her wrists and feet, symbolizing that we should all be free. I'm speaking of initially. They don't teach that because I'm taken for granted. The world's view of me is tainted, blurred, and slanted. But even in the hardest times of my life, I have prevailed because I am the native son, the phenomenal woman, the invisible man, and my soul's on ice. I am the miseducation, the tribulation, the triumph, and the fight. I am the young, the old, words spoken and stories untold. I have been since this day dawned, the wind blew, the trees stretched and yawned, and we have sat back and wondered, who does all this refer to? And I say not only me, but also to all of you. Then the sun comes to enlighten, and after all this time, you can finally see, I've only been talking about the truth. I'm talking about them, him, she, and every collective we, for all are a part of me. And I am Black history. Thank you. All righty. So on that note, good folks, we want to thank you once again for having us, Queen Mecca. Like, it's always a pleasure to collaborate and and share this stage and share this artistry with you all. Once again, I would like to introduce the band. On keys, we got my man Joe over there. On drums, we got the man Shotty G. We got Noah on bass. And on vocals, we have the lovely Brisa Loren.
There you go.
Okay, I got you. You know, we be Americanized and we get the accent, you know. Brisa Loren.
You know, my parents are fancy, y'all.
Right. And I am Kendrick Dow. We are the Lyrical Groove. We do have music online, so you can just search the Lyrical Groove. And like I said, we got some new music that's gonna be coming out here maybe towards the spring. So, and Brisa Loren has her own, she has her own solo project that is out on all digital platforms as well, called In Her Stillness. And yeah, so check that out too. And you know, like, as you see, we get deep. You know, we get to talk about some things. We can talk about some issues, but don't get it twisted. We like to have fun too.
Would it be black culture if we didn't?
So we want to end on this particular note. Some of y'all, you know this and gonna appreciate this. Some of y'all might not land in that same way, and that's okay. We're gonna do it anyway. So on that note, we're gonna kind of take them to church. Type of text to this girl I used to see, saying that I chose this cutie pie with whom I wanna be, and I apologize if this distance gets you down. That I CC'd every girl that I CC round town. Hate to see y'all frown, but I'd rather see her smiling. Wetness all around me, true, but I know Island Peninsula maybe makes no sense. I know crazy, give up all this that's in my lap, no looking back. Spaceships, don't call me crip. Rearview mirrors, they dip as quick as they can. The atmosphere is now ripped. I'm sort like a pimp. I'm glad this night. So the light from the sun when I burn me on my bum. When I shoot the moon, I jump the broom like a preemie out the womb. My partner yelling too soon. Don't do it. Reconsider. Read some literature on the subject. Is you sure? Hey, you know we got your back like chiropractic. If that chick do you dirty, we wipe it. Out in the detergent. Now hurry, going to the altar. I know you ain't a pimp, but pimp, remember what I taught you. Keep your heart through stacks. Keep your heart through stacks. Keep your heart. These girls are smart through stacks. These girls are smart. So play your part. I said, ooh, oh, oh, I choose you, baby. Choose you, baby. Said it could all be so simple, but you'd rather make it hard. Loving you is like a battle, and we both end up with scars. Tell me who I have to be, yeah, to get some rest, sobriety. You see that no one loves you more than me, loves you more, and no one ever will, yeah. Is this a silly game that forces you to act this way? Forces you to say my name and then pretend that you can't stay. See, I know what we've got to do, yeah. You let go and I let go too, 'cause no one's hurt me more than you. And no one
to let me know it ain't working. It ain't working, no. And when I try to walk away, you'd hurt yourself to make me stay. This is crazy. This is crazy. Care for me. I know you're there for me, there for me, there for me. Said you'd be there for me, cry for me, cry for me. Said you'd die for me, give to me, give to me. Yeah, yeah. Oh, cry, cry, cry. Why don't you care for me, baby? Care for me, baby. Oh, cry, 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 cry. Give, 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 care. Yeah, cry. Give.
Thank you so much, Cuyamaca College. Thank you so much to the students, to the faculty. Thank you for having us. Thank you to Black history. Thank you to our ancestors. Thank you to Black music. Thank you to artists, to poets, to musicians, to painters, to dancers, to everyone continuing to move culture. Thank you. Thank you.